Hey everyone, welcome back to Backpacking TV. I'm your host, Eric Hansen. Today we're going to be looking at the top tips to keep you comfortable while backpacking. Before we actually get into the video, I'd like to ask a favor to like and subscribe here to the channel. Turn on those old notifications so that you are aware of when we are actually presenting to you new content, new adventuresome stuff, new stuff for inspiration, things that'll keep you getting out and getting after it. Would like to say a quick thank you to Mystery Ranch, our sponsor that's helping to make these videos possible. They make amazing backpacks, and we're going to be talking about some of that a little bit later. But if you are interested in a backpack, I highly recommend them. I've been using them for years, and I love Mystery Ranch, what they make. They make amazing designs, super comfortable, super durable, all the things I recommend in a backpack. So go check them out at mysteryranch.com, and let's get into the video. Okay, so this video is all about being comfortable, and this is going to apply to any time of year. So spring, summer, fall, cooler weather, winter camping, you name it. This is about being comfortable in the backcountry. And that's really something that I think puts a lot of fear in most people, is that when they think of backpacking or camping, they think of an uncomfortable experience. And that's really unfortunate because it doesn't have to be the case. So I want to walk you through a few of the things that I think about that I think is going to make a big difference so that you actually enjoy your time in the backcountry and want to do it again. Okay, my first item is going to be a little bit on the more obvious side, but we'll get into the super deep expert-only secrets here in just a minute. But the first thing is just, are you warm enough? And that is going to be whether it's clothing or sleeping gear related, do you have the right gear to be comfortable because you're warm? So for beginners, a lot of times people don't have the right equipment or the technical equipment that, as you browse the halls of your local gear shop, look very tempting and obviously are there for a reason, but sometimes people get turned off by the price tags because it's easy to spend a lot of money. But one of the things that I really think that people need to have is a good puffy jacket. Whether it's spring, summer, or fall, just a general puffy jacket will be, it's one of my comfort pieces. I love throwing it on when I'm at camp. It is great at a wide spectrum of temperature ranges. If it's just a little bit cool to if it's downright cold, a good puffy jacket will keep you warm. They weigh almost nothing. They pack up into, nothing as well. So they're easy to throw and jam into your backpack. And they're just really comfortable. So if you're warm enough, you're going to be comfortable. That's kind of one of my go-tos. So having a puffy jacket, good wool socks, a beanie with me, pretty much no matter what season it is, probably some gloves as well, those types of things. Having the right clothing will go a long way. Another thing with clothing that I really think is important is I like to have a set of clothes, or at least a set of base layer undergarment type clothes that I reserve just for camp. So after a long sweaty day on the trail, I think it's really important to change out of that sweaty underwear, to put on some fresh socks and feel kind of like a human again. So just changing underwear and socks at the end of a day will go a long way to just feeling a lot more clean and comfortable and cozy, and not like you just are dying for a shower and feel like a gym rat or something like that. So bring some spare kind of camp only clothing, especially for like small items like underwear and socks. I really recommend that a lot. Another thing that's gonna go a long way to keeping you comfortable on the trail is food. Now, we all have our comfort foods that we have at home, but I totally recommend bringing something with you that is like a hug from mama, as I like to say, so that when you've plugged away at 7, 8, 9, 10 miles and you're feeling a little down, you're feeling trail weary, you've got something that can pick you up. So one of the things that I love taking with me is peanut butter. I don't necessarily recommend taking a full jar. However, I like to take, Justin's has these little single serving packets that I really like. But sometimes if I'm on for a long trail, multiple 5, 6 days in a row, I will take a full jar because I will go through all that peanut butter. It is my go-to comfort food. Another one that I like is wasabi soy almonds. It is a wonderful little salty treat. I like the salty stuff too. So having food that just makes you feel kind of at home and cozy again. And obviously, of course, is just keeping your calories up and not feeling like you're starving. That will make you feel a lot more comfortable on the trail as well. So find something that's like your comfort food and bring that with you. A big mistake that I see a lot of people making when they are new to backpacking is that they pick out this dream trip that they've been wanting to do for a long time, and then they don't work up to it. And then they also just overcommit in terms of mileage, and that is a great way to flame out and have a miserable time. So if you are on the newer end to backpacking, make sure you're doing things like training hikes and things like that, so that when you're actually backpacking, this isn't the very first time you've ever carried your backpack or hiked for more than 3 or 4 miles. And then when it comes to the actual logistics of your backpacking trip, 10 miles is a pretty hardy day for most people. So I recommend that most people, when you're on the newer side of backpacking, keep your mileage to between 5 and 8 miles. I think that's a really good range for people to just enjoy their time. You can take all day, you can take as many breaks as you want, and you don't feel like you are on an army march where you just have to keep moving no matter how tired and weary you get. Another thing that happens is people overestimate how they'll feel by mile 10 because they threw on that backpack at home, it felt fine, they wore it for 3 to 4 minutes, and then they feel like, yep, this is good. I don't have too much weight and I can tackle it. But if you have a ton of miles to go, it can make for a miserable, miserable time. So keep that mileage down. Don't be too aggressive in your planning. The next thing I think is really important is investing in the right gear. I do have a video on what I think is really important to spend that extra money on and what are some good things that you can save some money on. So I hope that we'll link that below here for you to make that nice and easy for you to find. But there are some things that I think are really important that you invest good money in. And one of those things is a sleeping mattress. I think that it's really, really important. If you think about, you're going to be spending a third of your time backpacking, sleeping, or in your sleeping bag or in your tent. So having a good, comfortable sleeping mattress means that you're not going to just survive the night, but that you will actually get a good night's sleep and you will feel refreshed in the morning and you will have enjoyed your sleeping experience, which means you're going to enjoy the rest of your experience too. So that is one of the things that I think is really important. And then obviously a backpack is one of the most important things in backpacking. So it's not just about the price tag, but it is about getting the backpack that fits you right. So investing in a backpack that is really tailored to you. Part of that means getting it sized right, not getting too big of a backpack, not just the physical size, but how much it carries as well. I think that for most people on the beginner end of the spectrum, that 65 liters is plenty. This is my 65 liter bag and I carry loads of stuff in this. So you can probably get away with like a 50 or a 55 liter bag and be just fine as well. One of the things that that'll make you do is it'll make you also not carry every possible thing that you can think of. Because the bag is physically smaller, it's going to make you whittle down your gear list and have a lighter backpack. And obviously, if you have a lighter backpack, you're going to have a more comfortable time on the trail. So if you have a 45 or a 50 pound bag, yes, you can throw it on your shoulders and be fine for the first few miles. But as you get to mile 5, 6, 7, 8, you are going to be exhausted. So make sure that you don't carry too many things. Also, another thing with backpacks that I see a lot of people making mistakes on is that they just buy the backpack and then they never properly actually fit it to them. So a backpack like this has all sorts of different ways in which you can adjust the straps, adjust the torso length, adjust your hip belts to really make it fit you as an individual hiker, what your body shape is, how your torso works, how your body moves. And so that will go a long way. And a lot of gear shops will actually really help you with that. I do have a video on properly fitting your backpack, which I invite you to check out. But also, if you just want to talk to somebody about it, your local REI, most of your gear shops will have somebody really helpful that can walk you through a step-by-step instructions on getting your backpack fitted just to you. So a backpack definitely plays into it, but managing your body is going to be a big tip for me to extol to you. So that's going to be backpack and shoes. kind of the main contact points with the backpacking experience. So your shoulders, your hips, your back, and your feet. That's typically where most of the pain sets in on a backpacking trip. So I recommend a nice lightweight pair of footwear. In general, I skew towards lightweight, more breathable footwear because most people, their problem comes from blisters. And so if you have more breathability in your footwear, that's generally something that will help reduce the moisture that builds up in your socks and in your feet, and will help prevent blisters going on. But it also depends heavily on where you're going to be backpacking. So these are great for the Southwest, which is where I live, because they're really light and airy, and they help keep my feet from building up too much sweat. Also, wool socks will help with that as well. They're going to wick away your moisture. Now, I do have a wall of footwear behind me as well, so if I'm going to be backpacking with boggy places or wet, rainy places, then I'm going to pick something that's obviously going to be more robust, maybe has Gore-Tex to it. But a lot of people, they only pick Gore-Tex footwear, and then they just wear that no matter where they're going. And most people don't have the luxury of having a whole wall of shoes like I do, so I get that. But it might be great to just have something that's closer to almost like a tennis shoe or a trail runner. I love hiking and trail runners. I also carry with me a blister care pack. And these are kind of like the body maintenance types of things. So you have to check in with your body every little bit, every couple of miles on the trail. Are your shoulders hurting? Are your hips hurting? Do you have a bunch of blisters or hot spots developing? Take the time to slow down and actually check in with yourself, because if you have some blisters, it's usually kind of too late. However, if you just have hot spots, you can apply moleskin, or you can do some different things, even if it's just some athletic tape, maybe even just duct tape. Those kinds of things to apply over a hot spot can really diminish that rubbing and keep it from going from a hot spot all the way to a full-blown blister, or even just kind of a mess where that blister could pop and become pretty nasty and something you really have to manage from there on out. Another piece of gear that I definitely think is worth investing in is trekking poles. Now, it is easy to think that trekking poles are only for the elderly or the infirm or the nerds out there. And that's kind of what I thought, I hate to admit it, for a while. That is, until I hit my 30s and until I actually started using the things and realized how much of a reduction in stress they help your body with. So I don't know what the physical science is behind it. I've heard it said that trekking poles will reduce your body's impact by about 10 to 20%, which feels roughly right. So if you're hiking for 10 miles, that accumulative impact, if you take trekking poles, it's going to feel on your body like you hiked 8 miles. And I can speak from experience to say it makes a big, huge difference if you are trekking with a lot of weight on your back and doing something steep like the Grand Canyon, or just going up your local mountain. The uphill is great to have an assistance on, but the downhill is where you save so much effort. Just being able to plant a trekking pole before you plant your foot will reduce the strain on your body by a lot. Not just your knee joints and your ligaments, but your muscles as well. So I definitely recommend some good trekking poles. Not that you need to carry it every time you go backpacking, but people use them for a reason, especially every distance hiker that you see out there. They're using it for a reason. It just reduces the strain on your body. So pick up some trekking poles. You'll thank me later. Okay, those are my tips for being comfortable on the trail. I hope that you enjoyed them. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments below. Let me know your tips, the things that you found to be really effective for enjoying your backpacking trips. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. And thanks so much for watching. And I'm Eric Hansen. I'll see you on the trail.